Dude, these things are sick. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared of them, but my god are they awesome. Just look how big it is, dude. These things are like 4 feet long, and they only weigh like 9 pounds apparently, which is kind of a surprise to me considering, like, you know, it's 4 feet long. These things are called the coconut crab. So they have 10 legs, suck it spiders, and they're built for fucking. Why do I say that? Well, the males, they literally have 2 legs that they only use to do the deed. And much like a senior in college, they do it quickly and frequently. Emphasis on the quickly. So when these things are born, they're little tiny little babies. They're actually related to the hermit crab, which surprised me at first, because looking at this thing and then looking at a hermit crab, I was like, there's no way. But when they're babies, they're basically a hermit crab. They take shells of gastropods and they put them on themselves for protection. But when they grow to adulthood after about 5 years, they say, screw that, I don't need that, I'm a hulk of a crab, fuck with me. About once a year, the adults will molt off their skin because, you know, when you're a big growing boy, you gotta get rid of your skin sometimes, like a snake or something like that. What they do is they bury themselves in a meter-long hole, I don't know how deep, but deep enough apparently, and they sit there for a few days and they just shit off their skin and they wiggle their way out of it, and then boom, I'm a bigger crab now. Now, if I ever stumble upon one of these crab holes, I'm never going to the beach again, because if I step on one of those, I'd... So when they're babies, they actually have gills pretty much, like a hermit crab. I don't know if it's actually a gill, but they can breathe underwater, so I'm gonna call it a gill. But when they grow to adulthood, they kind of get rid of those things, and they got what's essentially a lung. They have this spongy material that they need to, like, use their hands to keep moist because they need to have it moist in order to breathe air, apparently, which kind of sounds like a design flaw if you ask me, because that's just... Imagine if we had to do that, we had to just, like, fucking stick our hands in our lungs and just fucking pour water. Screw that. Now, evidently, they have a great sense of smell. And if you ask me, I had no idea crabs could smell. Like, I don't see a nose on that thing. Maybe they just, like, breathe it in through their skin or their spongy lungs or something. Like, yeah, that's fucking coconut. Now, despite the name, the coconut isn't their only source of food. They like to eat a various amount of different foods, including, like, birds and stuff like that. They prefer decaying carcasses because that's a lot more easy to catch and kill because it's already dead, so you just have to catch it. But that being said, they're also called the robber crab because what they do is they smell something with their smelling gland, or whatever the hell they have, and they scurry up to it, they grab it, and they run away. Kind of like a robber. Dude, these things are like Pokemon. They just like evolve into a different animal. Now, that being said, they're called the coconut crab because they're beasts at killing coconuts, dude. They can climb a tree that's 33 feet tall, or 3 meters for our non-Americans. They scurry up that thing, they give it a little snippy poo, and it falls down, and sometimes the coconut will crack. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen, but that's alright. They're a fucking hulk of a crab, so they just jump off. They're aware of gravity. They know Newton was a thing, and they can't just jump 33 feet. But, you know, if it's like a 15-foot drop, they'll do it. They'll just plop themselves down, because it's easier. Why not? And they find the coconut, they roll it over to the soft spot, they do one of these, they go, and they break it open and they eat some coconut. And, you know, that got me thinking, like, there has to be someone out there who has had one of these things fall on their head before. If you're that guy, dude, I'd never go to the beach again, bro. I'd probably just move. I'd take a plane and I'd go across the country, maybe to Antarctica, where I know there's no crabs climbing trees or something, because I'd rather have a coconut fall on my head, and coconuts have killed 150 people per year. That means they're 10 times more deadly than sharks. I don't think I should move down south. So these things can live incredibly long. Like I said before, it takes 5 years to get to adulthood, but they can live up to like 60 years old. That's some lobster shit. One of the funnier parts about these things is that they can latch onto you. Not that funny. They can take off a finger. But if they do latch onto you, in order to get it off you, you can just like tickle it in a certain spot. I don't know where, but apparently if you just give it a little tickle, it'll just let go. Apparently they're more ticklish than us. So this probably isn't a shocker, but people like to eat these things. It's a crab, you know, big crab. But the weird part is that depending on his diet, these things can actually be poisonous. So if they eat something that's called a sea mango, it'll make its meat poisonous. What the hell is a sea mango? No, that's an avocado. So this crab is the only species inside the Burgess genus. And if you ask me, they should get rid of the R and call it the biggest genus. Because it's big. So what would I rate them on the reincarnation scale? Well, let's be honest, dude. These things are sick. These things are awesome. They're a massive crab. Like, if I were to be a crab, I want to be this one. Why? Well, why not? Look at this thing. It's a beast. You know you're a top shit species when the only predators are yourself and humans. And that's what this thing is. I mean, unless it's a baby. When it's a baby little hermit crab, everything eats it. But if it makes it to adulthood, you're fine. You're gonna live pretty well, unless another one of these things decides to eat you or a human comes along, but it doesn't matter what animal you are, a human's probably gonna eat you regardless. So I'm gonna give it an 85. Why not higher? Because I've talked so highly about these things? Well, honestly, if I was born as one of these things, then I probably wouldn't make it to adulthood. I'm not very good at defending myself, so now if my consciousness was thrown into a 5-year-old one of these things, then hell yeah, 90 to 95, maybe even 100. But if I was a baby one of these things, no, I'd die. Was I recording? I was recording. Fuck yeah. This is like my 6th take. Every single time I wasn't recording or as blurry as. Whew.